Hey guys, glasses or no glasses? Glasses or no glasses? I'm going to keep the glasses on. So, I'm learning about this case, or actually, I'm constantly learning about cases, reading cases all the time, but this one really stuck out to me because it is a very great, amazing example of a case that shows that the law is not fair. And it's actually really, really sad. And it's showing this case, so the concept that they're trying to convey through this case is undue influence. And the way that my contracts professor teaches his class is he wants to teach you the concepts first, and then he wants you to read the case, and he wants you to see the concept through the case. And be like, oh, I know what that is. Like, that's undue influence. And so I'll read to you the description of it. And that way, when I tell you about the case, you can do the same thing and be like, oh, I see what it is. Super simple concept. Really, really easy. So, undue influence is an unfair advantage taken of inequality in bargaining power to bring about the formation of a contract. It can be established by showing that one party to the contract was weaker than the other, or it can be established by showing that one party of the contract was stronger than the other, and that this other party applied excessive pressure on the other person. So some of the examples of excessive pressure are, having a conversation with somebody at a very unusual time at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or something. Another way is telling them, oh my God, you have to sign this right now or else you're going to break the whole deal. Doing it at a really weird place, out in the Sahara Desert or something. You need to meet me here. Out in the middle of nowhere, using lots of people, so having 5 people come to you and you're just by yourself, you just inherently feel very, very intimidated by that. And then also saying that you don't have time to contact your attorney and you don't have time to contact your financial advisor. So things like that are examples of undue influence and excessive pressure. And so in this case, let me tell you about this case because it's really simple and sad and scary and so scandalous. But basically, it's the Odorizzi case. And so this man, he is gay, and he gets interrogated because he's gay. And not only is he gay, he's actually also a teacher. And so they find out he does some gay activities. I don't know how they find this out, but apparently the rumor is that his boyfriend was mad at him because he thought he was cheating on him with a police officer and told the police, hey, he's doing gay stuff, so you need to come over to his place and, interrogate him. And this is, he's just a gay man, he's a teacher, and he loves teaching. But he's in this crazy ordeal now where the police come to his door and they take him down to the station and they interrogate him for 40 hours and he doesn't sleep and he is, just kind of just crazy. Imagine being awake for 40 hours and okay, so Odorizzi finally gets released. He goes back home to his apartment, and then a little bit while later, apparently his principal and his superintendent show up. And they're like, hey, dude, you need to resign. This is not a good look for you and the school. And we promise if you sign this, none of this will get out. And he says that he doesn't have time to, reach his attorney. They also, they know that he hasn't slept for 40 hours. And they also say that they say that Odorizzi promises not to enforce his employment contract and that the school district promises to pay him severance pay if he signs this thing. So he signs it. You remember when I said the pressure thing, right? So there's multiple people there. They come to his house late at night. They ask him to sign it and say he can't see his attorney. So, like, all of these, it's a great example of undue influence. And so he signs it. And then later on, after they don't press charges against him for his gay activity, he rescinds his contract or his resignation letter. He's like, hey, wait. Like, I didn't even do anything wrong. I was just in jail for 40 hours for something that doesn't even make sense. And, like, now I, like, lost my job when I didn't even do anything wrong. So then he asked to rescind his letter, and the school is like, too bad, so sad. You signed it. See you later, alligator. I don't want anything to do with you. And he's like, sue. So he argues that, his lack of sleep put him in mental anguish, making him weaker than his counterparties. And they applied excessive pressure to him, telling him that there was no time to consult a lawyer and threatening to tell people about his arrest and negotiating 2-on-1. So, okay, this is a great example of undue influence, and the court holds, with Odorizzi. So, yay, the law is awesome. Like, yeah, that was super unfair. And so he won. But here's the thing that's, like, totally unfair. So, like, the backstory with this case, as scandalous as that first part was, the second part was, it took them, like, 2 years to finally hold that it was sufficient to plead a defense of undue influence. And so that's, like, the very, very, like, beginning of the case. And now they can proceed to discovery. But it was so sad because he wrote this letter out to everybody. And I won't read it to you, but essentially what it was like, hey, like, all I've ever loved to do was teaching. But unfortunately, I can't pay these legal fees anymore, to fight for my right to be a teacher. And so I will have to no longer, go after this case that I believe is right and just against the school to re-invoke my teacher's license, because that's all I have. And they've taken that away from me. And it's like, that's the end. He doesn't actually ever win. He runs out of money. And the other sad part is, like, he literally has no money. That the IRS audited him for those 2 years or so that he was in this litigation without a job. He had filed to the IRS his legal fees that he owed. And the IRS was like, oh, hell no. Like, you did not spend that much in legal fees. Like, you definitely owe us more money in taxes. And so when they did the IRS audit, it actually came about that he underreported his legal fees. And it was just like, no, that's so bad. He underreported it. So actually he owed the federal government or the IRS less money than he was already paying them. And so that just goes to show you, like, how unfair the legal system is. Even though it is fair, it just took so long to finally get a judgment on, like, this tiny piece of the case. And yeah, that was a great example of undue influence, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have a job in teaching, which is what he wanted, because somebody did that to him, or the school district did that to him. I'm sorry that took so long. But yeah, I just thought that was so unfair. And yeah, that was my vlog of my Odorizzi case. Okay, bye.